Welcome back to G-Fest, and as you can see, we are a few moments away from going racing with the Michelin Ginetta Junior Championship, our first of two races on this Saturday on the Silverstone National Circuit for this category. Going to be an exciting race, this one. The grid certainly points towards some action with Freddie Slater and Leo Robinson there on the front row. 20 minutes of racing it will be for these cars. Slipstream galore in this race, of that much I am certain. We will talk you through the grid in full in just a moment, but one thing I do want to talk about, and I want to take the opportunity to do this while Hugo Schwarzer is out there on the fourth row of the grid. Hugo, of course, is from Cologne, Germany, currently riding from Cologne, Germany, a mother and son who are doing a 500-mile charity cycle race, and they have chosen the Silverstone circuit as their end point, the Nürburgring circuit as their start point. So they're cycling from Germany to Silverstone, and they're expected to be here this evening. So that'll be our send-off for G-Fest today, cheering on the mother and son. Tom joining his mum. Sarah and Tom will be doing a 500-mile cycle, finishing here later today. Freddie Slater is our pole sitter, as mentioned, for this Ginetta Junior race. Leo Robinson on the front row with him. Row 2 of the grid is Luca Hopkinson, and yesterday's first race winner, Chase Fernandez, who took his inaugural car racing victory yesterday. Alicia Palmovsky and Finn Harrison on row 3 of the grid. Row 4 will be Hugo Schwarzer, the aforementioned youngster from Cologne, Germany. Row 5, Henry Jocelyn and Charlie Hart. Row 6 of the grid is Tom Spragg and Mackenzie Douglas. Then it is row 7, Freddie Allam and Edu Robinson, the former Spanish karting champion. Razor Seaworthen and Harry Moss on row 8 of the grid. Row 9 will be Felix Livesey and Alfie Davis. And then rounding out our final row of the grid will be Holly Mile and Bria Anglis. Anglis in 19th ahead of Mile. So the cars head towards the starting grid now. Myself, Adam Weller, here with you in the commentary box. Still delighted to be joined by David Sullivan as well. David, National Circuit, Ginetta Juniors. I think this is a decent recipe, this.
Absolutely, it's going to be so close. We see the cars making their way up then towards the start line. It's going to be really close. Slipstream is going to be the key to this one. Offset start as well, of course, with the Ginettas on the grids as well, so not lining up in the traditional straight behind 2x2. The front row offset then from the second, row 3 then in line with the front row. So it gives it a slightly different dynamic as well off the start. So going to be really interesting for this first race of the day here, round number 12 of the Ginetta Junior Championship.
Green flag is waving then. Will Leo Robinson be able to get the jump on Freddie Slater on the front row? He's, of course, got the inside line into the first corner, but Slater should have the more traction-ready side of the circuit. They are underway. They run towards Copse Bend for the first time, and will it be Freddie Slater in the lead? No, not quite, because Leo Robinson has a nose ahead in the 37. The R Racing cars side by side as they run towards Beckett's for the first time. They're in third place as well. Appears to be the number 90 car of Chase Fernandez. Yes, Fernandez is there in third position, although he manages to get the apex while the top two drift wide. Fernandez from fourth to the lead in the first lap.
Great start from Fernandez, got to the inside as the two leaders battled it out with each other. Almost forgot that Fernandez was there, leaving the door open. Fernandez with the slightly later turn in managed to get the inside. And then the apex, now he's going to be so far in front, he's going to be able to move over to maximise his entry into the left-hander at Brooklands. 4 wide in the middle of the pack, so they make their way round the left-hander. They're going to have to sort themselves out because the track quickly runs out of tarmac there. A few drivers running onto the grass on the inside for the right-hander at Luffield.
Yeah, Alicia Palmovsky ended up on the grass a little bit there. She was in that 3 or 4 wide situation you mentioned. Chase Fernandez getting pushed wide a little bit there. Miraculously, after being on the grass down the Wellington Straight, Freddie Slater has managed to renegotiate himself into the lead. And Mikey Porter, who started in 8th place, has already managed to get himself up into second. Car number 19 already up to P2. Luca Hopkinson is now in 3rd place. Chase Fernandez pushed back down to 4th from the lead from Luffield to the start-finish line. Palmovski, I think, getting a little bit of hurry up from behind as well from one of the others. That's Hugo Schwarzer in the 33 car, the white, black and orange machine, the number 33. This order is going to go back and forth again and again and again. But what everyone from fourth back doesn't want to do is lose touch with the top three.
Now see them as well, almost to the right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side of the track, and then they split. They're using that slipstream down the straight. You don't want to be the driver at the front, because as soon as you move out, everybody's going to come down the inside there. Down the inside of Alicia Palmovski in 6th place at the moment. See, at the start, Fernandez got that jump, then got forced out wide. He was in 4 different places from the start, 4th all the way up to 1st, back down into 3rd place. Drivers running wide in the exit there. You can see the dust from the gravel being thrown up into the air as they begin lap number 3. It's Slater, Porter and Hopkinson, then the top 3. Then they've got that gap back down to Palmovski, who's up into 4th place, currently under pressure from Fernandez as they go round Copse. Fernandez going to be close enough here, I think, to try and make a move. Palmovski already making a slightly defensive line as they head towards the Maggots and Beckett's complex to the inside. This could be what the leading trio need in order to break away here. Chase Fernandez, who won the Ginetta Junior Scholarship at the beginning of the year in 5th place, will want to break free and get through as early as he possibly can. Will not want to see the leading trio break away at the front of this one. You see the field all the way to the left there, because the leader's able to go to the right. Looks like they've got a plan, at least not between them, but looks like they've run the same wavelength out there on track at the moment. Still 3 and 4 wide there in the background. The 38 right on the back of this 3-car train. That's Finn Harrison trying to now take a much wider line. He'll be looking to get the cutback, get on the power earlier out of the right-hander at Luffield, as the track sort of straightens up ever so slightly before Woodcote, and now he's going to try and get in the slipstream as they head down towards Copse Corner.
Freddie Slater with Mikey Porter welded to the rear bumper. Same goes for Palmovski and Chase Fernandez as well. You mentioned Chase Fernandez, winner of the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, the youngest ever at 14 years and 1 day. Spent the entirety of 2022 preparing for the scholarship, was kart racing in 2021, took a clean slate approach in 2022 to be ready for the scholarship. Mikey Porter then from 8th on the grid, right behind our pole sitter Freddie Slater at this stage. Chase Fernandez has the inside line over Alicia Palmovski. Palmovski might get a little bit of help from the toe of Luca Hopkinson up ahead, though, as they run down the Wellington straight side by side, approaching Brooklands Bend. You can hold on around the outside at Brooklands. That's exactly what Chase Fernandez will try and do to get the inside for Luffield Bend. That follows. Palmovski, though, just about gets ahead. Will Chase Fernandez try and cut back? Not going to be close enough. Palmovski holding on to 4th position for now. Hugo Schwarzer investigating investigating Fernandez for 5th place.
They've really closed up, though, on the back of this one. Palmovski holding up at the moment. Fernandez in 5th place. You see, already defensive to the inside. 15 minutes still remaining, so we're only a quarter of the way into this race. Palmovski holding on to 4th place, trying to back Fernandez into Schwarzer, Robinson and Charlie Hart, who started in 10th place. He was 5th place in Heat 2 yesterday, but started the day on pole position, of course, yesterday did Charlie Hart. Started this one in 10th, now up into 8th place, but this battle from 4th all the way down to 8th now, with Palmovski and Fernandez battling with each other, has invited 3 other drivers into the mix here. Fernandez at this corner on the last lap got the run down the inside, wasn't able to carry enough speed to get the move done, and then they ran side by side all the way down this straight. See them there to the left. Be interesting to see if any of the drivers come out of the slipstream slightly early. They do. They almost break in formation. It's like watching the red arrows down the Wellington straight as they break formation, as they head down into that left-hander. Looks like there's a bit of dust thrown up by the 2 in front. They've been exploring the track limits on the last one as they came out of this corner. There was some dust thrown up. There's absolutely no runoff on the exit of Luffield there. You can see they've got about a foot of concrete that's green before the gravel that tries to draw the driver in. And let's see whether Fernandez now, he's going to have to think of something different here, Adam, as we've got Alamoff, we have on the grass. It's going to drop him all the way down. Keep an eye on the timing on the left. Freddie Allen, who was in 15th place, will now drop like a stone down the order, having gone off the crest. This is now where Fernandez has tried something different, got the run out of Cop's corner, and will now have the inside. In fact, he won't, because he's going to find Hugo Schwarzer on the inside, and none of them are going to get back in, because the 37 of Leo Robinson is there as well.
Black and white flags for track limits also going out already. 66 and 47 cars receiving those. So Harry Moss and Freddie Allen, who are down at the back. Freddie Allen actually went into the pit lane after his off earlier on. Hugo Schwarzer then holding off Chase Fernandez as they run down towards the Brooklands Bend yet again. We're already on lap 6 of this race. It feels short, sharp and frenetic compared to the GP circuit race that we were having yesterday. The Junior Championship well suited to this national layout. It's so important that these drivers remain in the pack, in the slipstream. Harry Moss can attest to that. Unfortunately, he's fallen off the back of the pack and he's already lost 3 seconds. Schwarzer there going defensive, trying to hold on to what is now his 4th position ahead of Chase Fernandez. Fernandez will try and carry the momentum through Copse, but I don't think he'd succeed going around the outside of that corner. Mikey Porter and Luca Hopkinson now very much shadowing Freddie Slater.
Fernandez very, very wide there round the Copse corner, running off the track over the curb on the outside of the corner. Wait for him to come back in shot. He's still alongside. Be interesting as well as to whether they're looking for track limits at Woodcote as well. We saw Hugo Schwarzer go very defensive to the inside. The curb there on the inside, it's not serrated in the same way. It's painted onto the tarmac, so they're able to cut across that without unstabilising the car. Interesting to see whether they're looking for track limits on the inside of that corner, where primarily it's on the outside. Drivers trying to open the corner up a little bit more and carry some more speed. This leading trio, though, at the moment, still with Freddie Slater, Mikey Porter and Luca Hopkinson going with them. The gap 1.3 back to Hugo Schwarzer. Now it'd be interesting to see whether Schwarzer and Fernandez can try and break free of this 5-car battle, which they were previously being held up slightly by Alicia Palmowski, but now she's joining in with the slipstream with everybody else. Then we've got another 5 cars further back as well in the background, so it looks like everybody's sort of migrating together into packs, which we expected. We just maybe thought that that leading pack would have been slightly larger, but I would expect that these 5, just 1 or 2 laps of straight line slipstreaming, that should be able to go back in. But I think the leading trio have really decided to turn this into a slipstream fest. As Chase Fernandez goes down the inside, we talked earlier in qualifying about the door being left open down the inside there into Maggots and Beckett. Hugo Schwarzer did leave the door open. He's going to have a little bit more exit speed there, getting on the power earlier, but he will not have track position for the left-hander down into Brooklands. And already it looks like that Fernandez is already through down the inside. So we cut back to the leading trio. They're still nose to tail. We haven't really seen the 3 of them do much in the way of overtaking opportunities. They're just looking to open up the gap, leaving these lot behind to argue it out. Schwarzer once again leaving the door open, is able to slot back into line though in front of Palmowski as they head back out. It's pretty much as you were, with the exception of Fernandez now in front of Hugo Schwarzer. So Fernandez, who's been in 5th place for most of this race, although at one time behind Palmowski, then behind Schwarzer, as Schwarzer got the jump on both of them on the exit to Beckett. Now the 2 of them have got an opportunity here to try and break away, although the field will concertina back together into that braking zone that saw the overtake on the previous lap. Back to the leading trio.
So just to say, Schwarzer and Palmowski, we saw them yesterday, both at various points signalling, no, let's work together, much like you see in karting, just, no, we need to work together and catch the leaders. I'm sure they'll be doing the same today, although in the case of Chase Fernandez, I think he's just eager to be in a battle. He's trying to fight them every inch of the way. Now, will that pack of 5 galvanise and try and close in on the top 3? I think they might well. Freddie Slater under pressure from Mikey Porter as they turned into Brooklands. Hugo Schwarzer also taking a look to the inside of Chase Fernandez as they turn into Luffield. But I think potentially these 5 cars running from 4th through 8th place have maybe realised what they need to do, and that is stick together without trying to overtake and close in on that top 3. We saw similar yesterday as well. Freddie Slater and Alicia Palmowski managed to get away in the early stages of the race. Hugo Schwarzer then brought everyone with him, and we got a fairly cataclysmic end to the race. Let's see if it's the same this time. Freddie Slater, though, your leader, but not by a lot at all. He's got his stablemates from R Racing in second and third place right on his bumper.
Well, Alicia said yesterday in her post-race interview that she pretty much just made the decision once she got into that position to push Freddie Slater to try and open up that gap throughout the race. Looks like R Racing have got a bit of a plan at the beginning of this one. Fernandez left the door open ever so slightly and allowed Schwarzer to draw alongside, but I think that was pretty much a plan there from Fernandez, because that's going to allow Fernandez to have the track position for this left-hander at the end of the Wellington straight as they go into Brooklands. A much more open corner than it used to be on the old layout here at Silverstone. If we were to use the full layout going under the bridge, that was a much tighter left-hander. There was never an overtaking opportunity on the prior configuration. Very much is though now with the Wellington straight, because it's not just a left-hander, it's a tightening radius left-hander, which is why you see the cars going all the way to the outside of the track, whereas normally you'd see them wanting to cut a lot tighter then to open up the final corner here effectively at Luffield. Although Woodcote is a right-hander, it's taken flat out and often isn't really seen as too much of a corner for our drivers. They're just really using it to maximise their straight line speed, but is a much different corner to what it used to be, and with it being a tightening radius one, does invite drivers to sometimes leave the door open down the inside into Brooklands. But in these Ginetta Juniors, it's really a case you've got to try and get alongside, stick it all the way round the outside of that corner, and then just get it stopped for the right-hander at Luffield. That's important. We've seen it tried a few times earlier in this race. Maybe too early for the drivers to be overly forceful with a move like that, but expect things as we have 7 minutes remaining. When that gets down to the remaining 2 or 3 minutes, expect drivers to be increasing that risk-reward level for their overtakes into that corner. I would expect to see a few more of them trying to stick it all the way around the outside when one place makes all the difference at the end of this one.
Tom Spragg there running in 12th place. He's got a little bit of bodywork loose on the rear of the car. 5-second penalty for track limits has been applied to Freddie Allen down in 19th position. That's the first warning shot from race control. Yes, we are very much paying attention to your track limits, youngsters. No leeway given to the younger drivers. We've also got a 5-second time penalty for Felix Livesey just come through as well, so he's in 13th position. No one from the top section of the race has really been affected yet by track limits warnings, but they do have to keep note of that. Last laps through for our top three were all in the 1:11.8 bracket, there or thereabouts. Chase Fernandez was a 1:11.510, and everyone behind him in that queue was also quicker than the top three on the previous lap. So I think those R Racing trio of Freddie Slater, Mikey Porter and Luca Hopkinson will soon have a little bit of company behind them, spearheaded potentially by Chase Fernandez in the number 90 car. The gap is noticeably closing in between them. It's under 2 seconds between our top three and the chasing pack. It was almost exactly 2 seconds last time. It's now down to 1.7. I don't know if they're quite going to get there in the remaining 5 minutes and 20 seconds, but if Slater, Porter and Hopkinson start to fight among themselves, then absolutely yes, they will close up.
Yeah, if this was a time trial, just a race to the flag in a straight line, I don't think they would, but these three at the front, teammates for now, give it 2 or 3 minutes, and the fact that the cars are the same colour with a slightly different trim round the outside will go completely out of the window when the three of them want to battle it out. Freddie Slater will be the one who wants to take it most, but has the most to lose, of course, in terms of the points for the championship. We're pretty much at the midpoint of the season now, and he's in the driving seat, not only for this race, but in the point standings as well. So we'll want to take the victory, but we've got 3 off. Is that Brie Anglis in the 84?
Yes, it is. The 74 and the 23 involved with that as well. So Holly Mile and Alfie Davis also caught up in that moment. And in the case of Alfie Davis, he's got some pretty severe damage. He really needs to get that car into the escape road, but he's struggling to get the car turned, of course, with the front bodywork underneath the wheels. That car has been recovered into should be a safe-ish position. It's all kicking off further back as well as Livesey gets knocked into the barrier. Schwarzer in collision there with the number 78. I think it was Seaworthen that tipped him into that spin. Ultimately, Felix Livesey into the wall. Let's hope we don't get a safety car, because this race was building very exciting indeed. But Livesey might not be able to get out of that position. Our top three really being closed in upon as Livesey gets back underway.
Yeah, in all of that action, Chase Fernandez set the fastest lap of the race, some 7/10 of a second quicker than the trio in front of him on the previous lap. In terms of his on the last lap as well, he was 7/10 quicker. In fact, you can almost see them now in the same camera shot as we saw them side by side, so they are migrating together. The leading trio haven't really started battling yet. And even so, Chase Fernandez with the fastest lap of the race, Hugo Schwarzer with an identical time to him as well on the previous lap, say 7/10 of a second quicker. They're going to close in. They're going to be well under a second this time round as they cross the line. It was around about a full second previously. Now it's down to half a second from the back of Hopkinson in third to Chase Fernandez in fourth place. Another fastest lap from Hernandez, half a second quicker. And now we've got 6 cars in the same camera shot battling it out for the lead. R Racing unable to move away as a trio at the front of this race have now been reeled in by Fernandez, Schwarzer and Palmowski, not too far behind either in the yellow machine.
Yeah, it's definitely a 6-car queue, as you said. Chase Fernandez with the fastest lap of the race. He's got the momentum right now. He's right on the back of Luca Hopkinson as they head down the Wellington Straight. Brookland is next up, and I suspect that Fernandez isn't going to join the R Racing queue. He's going to try and uncouple them from each other. Slater going defensive. We saw Slater going defensive a little more potentially than he needed to in some of yesterday's racing, but every reason to go defensive now. He's got 2 minutes and 10 seconds of racing left to go. That is going to be the beginning of the penultimate lap, therefore, this time by. 2 laps left to go, and Chase Fernandez is looking to break the hold of R Racing as they run across the line to begin the penultimate lap.
Yeah, there'll be absolutely no team orders here, so it's not like Luca Hopkinson's going to back the rest of them up and allow the rest of his teammates to move away. He wants to win this race as much as any of this top 6. Don't discount either Charlie Hart in 7th place. You'll just about catch him coming into shot now. He's only 2 seconds or so behind as the driver of Schwartz moves out the slipstream. He's managed to find a way past Chase Fernandez. Fernandez, though, is back down the inside. You know, and that's going to allow Palmowski to come down the inside. Schwarzer forced wide onto the outside. Palmowski up into 5th place. The battle behind not too far back either. This top 6 are going to really slow themselves down in the remainder of this race. Don't think Hart and Robinson are going to be close enough to close right in on this one, but don't discount them from making up position should anybody take action in terms of taking each other out by anything silly towards the end. Schwartz taking a much different line now. He's trying to get on the power. He wants to try and get down the inside at Copse, and he's trying to line this one up as they head out of Luffield. Wants to get on the power early to try and make the move stick down the inside at Copse.
Hugo Schwarzer went from 5th to 4th and then back to 6th, all in the space of that 1 lap. Schwarzer will be trying to get back past Palmowski as they approach Copse Bend. Not sure he's going to be close enough to move to the inside of Palmowski, but Chase Fernandez trying to go around the outside of Luca Hopkinson. Hopkinson, though, covers him off. It's going to be Freddie Slater continuing to hold the lead as they come out of Beckett, but surely this time on the Wellington Straight, Mikey Porter and Luca Hopkinson will be doing everything in their power to try and attack, as will Chase Fernandez, who goes around the outside at Beckett's. Can't quite get it done there. Leaves himself open to Palmowski and indeed Schwarzer. Slater with a car length or 2 as they came onto this long Wellington Straight. That might serve him well. He's going ultra defensive as they approach Brooklands for the final time. The 3 R Racing cars all line astern as they turn into the final sequence of corners. Palmowski around the outside of Chase Fernandez and manages to get into 4th place. I think 4th place might be the ceiling, though, for anyone not attributed to R Racing. It's going to be an R Racing 1, 2, 3 headed by Freddie Slater. Freddie Slater will continue to enhance and expand his championship lead. Mikey Porter tries to pip him to the line but can't quite get it done. It's Freddie Slater that wins the race. Mikey Porter taking 2nd. Luca Hopkinson rounding out our podium positions. Alicia Palmowski in 4th. Chase Fernandez rounding out that top 5 ahead of Hugo Schwarzer, Charlie Hart, Leo Robinson, Finn Harrison, the first out of that long queue of cars, and then Mackenzie Douglas rounding out our top 10. I think all parties in that little convoy of Ginetta G40 juniors will be smiling from ear to ear. No more, though, than Freddie Slater, who has once again stamped his authority on the Ginetta Junior Championship.
Superb from Slater. We say dominated it from start to finish, but obviously it was a really close battle. What he did in terms of dominating it was he put his car where he needed to put it in the early phase of the race to try and break away. When he realised the rest of the field was there, you saw pretty much down with 3 minutes to go, his line changed completely down this Wellington straight to hug that line down the right hand side. Never opened the door really. Porter was close enough, so was Hopkinson, but Freddie Slater never allowed them to draw alongside almost until the start finish line as Porter tried to out-drag him towards the checkered flag. 10th of a second between them, but Freddie Slater takes the victory here at Silverstone on Saturday for round number 12 of the Ginetta Junior Championship. Patsy's car, but I think most of it there we have to give to Freddie Slater, because what he did was just, like I say, he put the car where he needed to. He drove that race really, really intelligently, because as the rest of the field came in, you know, the top 7 split by 2 seconds. Hart and Robinson did indeed close in towards the end of that race, but just having a quick look, looked like they both actually got past Chase Fernandez right at the end, who looks like, did he have a slight problem at the end there? We did miss out, or he's had a penalty applied to him, hasn't he, for track limits at the end. Freddie Slater, though, your race winner in round 12.
Yeah, Freddie Slater the winner, Mikey Porter within a 10th at the end there, Luca Hopkinson taking 3rd from Alicia Palmovsky and Hugo Schwartz, who we've already mentioned, of course, Charlie Hart and Leah Robinson 6th and 7th. Chase Fernandez right at the end of the race getting a 5-second penalty for track limits, so that's why he's been dropped down to 8th position. Finn Harrison and Mackenzie Douglas rounding out your top 10 ahead of Henry Jocelyn. Razor Seaworthen in 12th place, rounding out the top dozen ahead of Eddie Robinson and Tom Spragg. In 15th place is Bria Anglis for Brakel Racing. Holly Mile in 16th. Felix Livesey in 17th. Freddie Allen in P18 after his woes in the race. Alfie Davis and Harry Moss both failing to finish. Of course, in the case of Alfie Davis, we saw exactly what happened to his car. That front bodywork coming askew in a 3-car accident there with a couple of the other drivers, including Anglis in the 84. So